He does not believe in the Constitution. He does not believe in the rule of law.
Are they high on their own supply? What the hell is wrong with the Democratic Party? How did Democrats respond to this? Well, Mayor Karen Bass, who was most recently seen being in Ghana while the entire city burned down just a few months back and then trying to avoid the media, she put out a statement, quote, "This morning, we received reports of federal immigration enforcement actions in multiple locations in Los Angeles. As mayor of a proud city of immigrants who contribute to our city in so many ways, I am deeply angered by what has taken place." Okay, by the way, LA is not a city of immigrants. LA is a city of citizens, as all cities in the United States are. If there are people there illegally, they are committing a crime. City of immigrants. Again, I love the lumping together of all the people who legally immigrated or who are the descendants of immigrants with people who are in LA illegally. These tactics sow terror in our communities and disrupt basic principles of safety in our city. My office is in close coordination with immigrant rights community organizations. We will not stand for this, said Mayor Karen Bass. We will not stand for this. Now, Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, responded. She said, this is complete BS.
I want to get to this quote from Mayor Karen Bass, California. She says, "We're going to fight for all Angelenos, regardless of when they got here, whether they have papers or not. We are a city of immigrants, and this impacts hundreds of thousands of Angelenos." Also, Governor Gavin Newsom. So, yeah, and the governor. Go ahead.
This is all. It's bullshit. They don't do it. They don't fight for people. They are not. They are politicians who are out there jeopardizing the lives of people for politics and an agenda.
So again, Gavin Newsom's perspective and the perspective of Democrats is that it is completely irrelevant if people take over the streets, attack ICE, attack the cops. The big problem is that President Trump has activated the National Guard in order to stop all of that. Gavin Newsom put out a statement 10:36 p.m. This had been June 7th. Quote, "They want a spectacle. Don't give them one. Never use violence. Speak out peacefully." Well, I mean, again, I don't understand. ICE is there to enforce the law. Speak out peacefully. I mean, they could use Twitter for the X. They could do all sorts of things. You know what they can't do? Take over freeways, chuck rocks from overpasses at cop cars, attack police officers, attack ICE officials, burn cars. But Gavin Newsom was very concerned with the Republicans, of course. Quote, "The Secretary of Defense is now threatening to deploy active duty Marines on American soil against its own citizens. This is deranged behavior." So just to get this straight, it is deranged to suggest that perhaps we have to deploy troops to stop the chaos in LA. But it is not deranged for the governor of California to put all of his focus not on stopping the criminality, but on the people attempting to stop the criminality. A couple hours later, President Trump put out a statement, quote, "Great job by the National Guard in LA. After 2 days of violence, clashes, and unrest, these radical left protests by instigators and often paid troublemakers will not be tolerated. Also, from now on, masks will not be allowed to be worn at protests. What do these people have to hide and why? Again, thank you to the National Guard for a job well done." And so, again, that was as of Friday night. But it continued over Saturday. It continued over Sunday, of course. Tom Homan, the border czar, he suggested that if the mayor and the governor actually obstruct the workings of law enforcement, well, we'll arrest them as well.
Are they at risk of being arrested?
I'll say it about anybody. You cross that line, it's a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien. It's a felony to impede law enforcement from doing their job.
Do you think that the mayor of LA is doing that?
If she crossed that line, we'll ask the DOJ to prosecute. Do I think she's crossed the line? I don't think she's crossed the line yet. But I'm telling you, the warning we're sending is we're not going to tolerate people attacking our officers.
Again, the Democratic response here is so insane. Just put aside the moral. Obviously, it's insane on a moral level. On a political level, are they high on their own supply? What the hell is wrong with the Democratic Party? They look at ICE enforcing the law, and instead of them saying, listen, this is over-enforcement, we think that the priority needs to be criminal illegal immigrants, people who have committed crimes other than their illegal immigration. This is a misuse of resources. This is all ginned up in order to get headlines for failing president. Like, that's what a normal Democratic Party would do on this issue. Instead, what they have decided to do is claim that the rioters are not the problem. The real problem is that the enforcement of law happened in the first place. The city of Glendale. I used to work in Glendale. I had a radio studio over in Glendale. And the city of Glendale put out a statement, quote, "After careful consideration, the city of Glendale has decided to end its agreement with U.S. Homeland Security, ICE, to house federal immigration detainees. This local decision reflects our core values: public safety, transparency, and community trust. The Glendale Police Department does not enforce immigration laws and remains fully compliant with SB 54. Our focus remains on serving Glendale residents and businesses while preserving it as one of the safest cities in the nation. Unbelievable. So Glendale's response to rioters in the streets is, what more can we do for illegal immigrants? Meanwhile, Kamala Harris, you wonder why she lost? She's still around, wandering in the streets like Miss Havisham in Great Expectations, kind of wandering around, a ghost in the machine. She put out a statement, quote, Los Angeles is my home. And like so many Americans, I'm appalled at what we are witnessing on the streets of our city. Deploying the National Guard is a dangerous escalation meant to provoke chaos. In addition to the recent ICE raids in Southern California and across our nation, it is part of the Trump administration's cruel, calculated agenda to spread panic and division. The administration's actions are not about public safety. They're about stoking fear. Fear of a community demanding dignity and due process. Oh, wait, hold up. Are illegal immigrants demanding dignity and due process? Or have they just been living in the United States without due process for literally years at a time by the millions? And I used to live in Los Angeles. The idea that you couldn't find, like, this was always the joke, okay? Growing up in LA, the joke was that people at the federal level would be like, we don't even know where to find the illegal immigrants. They're so hard to find. And everyone in LA would be like, I can do it. You can do it. Everybody can do it. Just because ICE is now doing it doesn't mean ICE is doing something wrong. Kamala Harris said protest is a powerful tool, especially in the fight for justice. As the LAPD mayor and governor have noted, demonstrations in defense of our immigrant neighbors have been overwhelmingly peaceful. Fiery, but mostly peaceful. They are so high on their own supply, the Democrats. I don't understand. You lost. You're going to continue to lose. I continue to support the millions of Americans who are standing up to protect our most fundamental rights and freedoms. So again, at no point does she say that throwing rocks at cop cars is a violation of fundamental freedoms. Instead, she says that the fundamental freedom and right is to apparently be an illegal immigrant. She's appalled at what she's witnessing on the streets of the city, not the riots, the National Guard. She is appalled by the Trump administration's cruel, calculated agenda to spread panic and division, not at the millions of illegal immigrants that she and her boss let into the country. Totally insane. And this is the unified position of the Democratic Party. This is the unified position. We'll get to more on this in a second. First, picture this. You walk over to your computer, you pull up your entire browsing history, you hit print, and then you nail those pages to your front door so every single person can see it. Sounds pretty crazy, right? Well, that's essentially what happens every single day unless you protect yourself with ExpressVPN. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Your internet provider can see every single website you've ever visited, even when you're browsing in incognito mode. In many countries, they're actually required to keep detailed logs of your online activity for years, just in case the government wants to take a look. And if you're in the United States, it gets even worse because ISPs can literally sell your personal browsing data to whomever they want. Now, you can't stop your ISP from trying to collect this information, but you can make sure they never get it in the first place. That's where ExpressVPN comes in, encrypts all your online activity before it even reaches your internet provider, turning their logs into complete gibberish. I use ExpressVPN every time I go out on the road. I'm constantly traveling, and that means that I'm on public Wi-Fi. That's nobody's business what I'm doing on the internet. I have a job to do. So I use ExpressVPN. It's so simple to use. One tap on any device, phone, laptop, tablet. You know your privacy is completely locked down. Find out how you can get 4 months for free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by heading on over to expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show. One California Democrat had the unfortunate juxtaposition of being on TV attacking President Trump while suggesting that peaceful protest was happening as burning car footage was playing next to her. This is Representative Nanette Barragán. She was on CNN, and she was talking about how peaceful the protests are. Well, next to her was a burning car.
We agree that if you're being violent, you should be arrested. You should be prosecuted. There is no disagreement on that. I think that's an effort that we can all say. But this is not what's happening. We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest. The president is sending the National Guard
now it's so
because
peaceful.
he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes of people peacefully protesting.
So much peace. So many peace. Wow. So the peace is everywhere. Can you feel the peace? The peace is literally everywhere. Absolutely incredible. Meanwhile, Cory Booker, he of the Mr. Potato Head angry eyes. He was out there doing angry eyes on Meet the Press and saying that, enforcing ICE action or calling the National Guard to quell riots, that's only going to make things worse.
Look, since years before I was born, law enforcement knows it's good when there's cooperation and coordination. For the president to do this when it wasn't requested, breaking with generations of tradition, is only going to incite the situation and make things worse.
It's Trump being inciting. That the enforcement of law. I love the catch-22 Democrats have set up. If you don't enforce the law, that's good. If you do enforce the law, you are inciting the violation of law. So anywhere you go, the law being broken is the fault of the people enforcing the law. Unbelievable. Adam Schiff, the most ridiculous senator in America. And I say ridiculous because the notion this guy should be a senator after bloviating his way through the Russiagate scandal is insane. But California is an insane state, which is why I picked up my company and my entire family and left. Adam Schiff put out a statement, quote, "The Trump administration's calling on the California National Guard without the authorization of the government is unprecedented. This action is designed to inflame tensions, sow chaos, and escalate the situation. If the Guard is needed to restore peace, the governor will ask for it. But continuing down this path will erode trust in the National Guard and set a dangerous precedent for unilateral misuse of the Guard across the country." Oh, that's the issue, is that President Trump is activating the National Guard without a request from the governor, and that's what's sowing chaos. Oh, I see. So it's not the riots sowing the chaos, or the fact that California has refused to help federal law enforcement enforce the law for generations. The problem is the National Guard. Violence must stop, says Adam Schiff. We need to keep the focus on protecting fundamental rights. Again, please name the fundamental rights that are being violated. Truly, what are the fundamental rights? The picking up of people who are illegal immigrants for due process and deportation? That's the fundamental right? What is the fundamental right that has been violated? They cannot name it. Because in their belief, again, the scavenger mentality, the fundamental right is to destroy the system. And if you impede that, then you have impeded a fundamental right. Adam Schiff says, there is nothing President Trump would like more than a violent confrontation with protesters to justify the unjustifiable, invocation of the Insurrection Act, or some form of martial law. So he believes that President Trump is desperate to invoke martial law. That's what he's looking for right now. And Bernie Sanders doing the same thing. So the socialist clod senator from Vermont, lifelong useless person, complete commie moron who's been a blight on the body politic since the day he entered it, a leech on the ass of society, Bernie Sanders. I have more in the bag of insults where those came from. Here's Bernie Sanders talking about how Trump wants all the power. This is just a power grab. A power grab to do what? To accomplish what? Did he overthrow the government of California and install a dictator? Or did he just deploy the National Guard to quell violent riots? Here's Bernie Sanders.
We have a president who is moving this country rapidly into authoritarianism. He is suing media who criticizes him. He is going after law firms who have clients who were against him. He's going after universities that teach courses that he doesn't like. He's threatening to impeach judges who rule against him, and he's usurping the powers of the United States Congress. This guy wants all of the power. He does not believe in the Constitution. He does not believe in the rule of law. My understanding is that the governor of California, the mayor of the city of Los Angeles, did not request the National Guard, but he thinks he has a right to do anything he wants.
He thinks he has a right to... Okay, so first of all, everything he's doing is legal. Second of all, if Donald Trump became a dictator, that would be the first dictator Bernie Sanders didn't love. Truly. Bernie Sanders has a love affair with every dictator. And then he calls President Trump a dictator. In the fiery but mostly peaceful quote of the entire conflagration so far, this is an amazing clip. Okay, so apparently over on local news, there was, believe it or not, a reporter who was watching the footage of all of this go down. And this reporter suggested this is not violent. All of these burning cars, this is not violent. Burning cars is just fun, you see. It's mostly just people having fun. I don't know about you. I don't have fun by setting cars on fire. It's never occurred to me to have fun by setting random strangers' cars on fire. But according to this reporter at ABC7, this is not violence. This is not violence. When somebody's car gets burned, that is just some good, solid, old home fun. Here we go.
Large group of people, it could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
It's all just people having fun watching cars burn. You know, like you used to do when you were a kid. Just like that. These people are so crazy. They're so crazy. But this is the entire left-wing media now. The entire left-wing media has been driven so insane by President Trump that anyone even remotely associated with the enforcement of basic black letter immigration law is now the problem, and people who burn cars are the heroes. And this is nothing new. The revolutionary violence in which the scavenger left now consistently engages, and for which they consistently make excuses, is truly mortifying and shocking. And some people in the United States were making fun of France for watching people allow massive burning of cars and riots in the streets. And they're saying, you import an entire population to do this? Are you insane? Well, it appears that we have a domestic population in the United States, some of whom are very happy to watch the cars burn, and others who are very happy to burn the cars. Well, that's all for now, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts down below. Be sure to check out all of the other great content on my channel. I'll see you here next time.